Underweight correlates with much worse health outcomes than, quote, obesity. Where are the obese 80-year-olds at? Where are all the really obese 70-year-olds? They're in a care facility, or they're dead. Let's read this tweet. There's two of them. There's two of this. This is from Kim at Moonsprout Studios, of course. She writes, being fat doesn't cause poor health directly. But even if it did, it doesn't make it right to exclude fat people from society. Well, that's not happening. So I think the rest of what you're going to say is all bullshit too. No one's excluding fat people from society. It's a weird thing to say being fat doesn't cause, we're not done yet, but say being fat doesn't cause poor health directly. That's not how it works. All your terrible lifestyle habits lead to poor health and also being fat. What kind of a statement is that? No one should have to prove that their weight isn't their fault in order to be respected and properly cared for. They don't have to prove it. It is their fault. And if it's not their fault, it's their responsibility. So it doesn't really matter whose fault it is. Okay? It's their responsibility to deal with it. No one should be dealing this. This is not society's problem to fucking handle your shit. No one else is paying your bills. Well, sometimes people are, right, okay, all right. Fucking LA doesn't have to pay rent until like 2050. I forgot. So sometimes you have people paying your bills, like the government or something like that, right? You know, you're on unemployment or you have whatever it is. Okay. But it's your like it's your situation. You're the one that's going to have to fix it. You're the one that put yourself in an obese situation. And if there was some kind of tragic, rare thing that happened or some rare disease that you have, okay, well, it's still you. It's still your life. What are you going to do about it? I mean, I don't hate fat people. I just don't like fucking excuses and lazy people. I don't like lazy people. I don't like lazy people, regardless of what they look like. Not all obese people are lazy. Well, I don't know an obese person that just works their fucking ass off. They're just crushing it all the time and they're not working their ass off the way they should be. I don't care if you are an influencer online. You know, you barely have to fucking move to do that. What does that have to do with anything? Come on now, fam. Right? Come on now, Moonsprout. But there's a part 2 to this. We know it's not really about health anyway, because if it was, everyone would be yelling at thin people for glorifying unhealthy lifestyles, as underweight correlates with much worse health outcomes than, quote, obesity. Underweight correlates with much worse health outcomes than obesity. You need to make sure that you are understanding what you're saying. If someone is severely underweight, they're like starving to death. They don't have enough nutrients. The human body is very, very resilient when it's obese. But you're not going to be obese until your 50s, probably. You have to really look at whatever you're looking at, whatever studies you're looking at properly. Okay. There are a lot of people that are obese. It does take a while to get there for most people. And then you have this nice slow downslide. Okay. Where are the obese 80-year-olds at? Where are all the really obese 70-year-olds? They're in a care facility, or they're dead. That's where they are. So where are you even getting this information? What lies and deception? Like, let's look at it from another angle. Underweight is not good, and overweight, you know what that means? It's over the weight you should be and under the weight that you should be. Now, there's a range to that, don't you all think? Depending on how much muscle mass you have. how tall you are. There's a range. It's not like, I'm not saying if you do like a calculation, you need to be 174 pounds. And if you're 175, you're a fat fuck and you have to lose weight. You're 173, you're underweight. There's obviously a range, okay? And of course, if let's say you're at your ideal weight, let's say your ideal weight is 150 pounds. Doesn't matter who it is, man or woman, doesn't matter. Excuse me. Hell, let's say 175, all right? Let's say 175. You know, you're not going to notice major health complications if you're 180, if you're 5 pounds over. That's not really something that's going to, you know, necessarily weigh heavily on your long-term outcome. Let's say you're 5 pounds under. Like, there's a range. Maybe it's 10 or 15 pounds, give or take. So under means you're severely underweight, which means you also have low muscle mass, which is one of the major like determinants of having longevity, is how much muscle mass and how like strong your bones are. So if you're underweight, you don't have muscle either. So got some soundboards. Go fuck yourself.
We stay woke, but y'all sleep. Real mode, but y'all sheep. Out in public, she a good girl, but at the crib, she a real freak. New throne for the new king. Same kid, now my streets go. Same gang, got the cheat code. I said stay woke, we in real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. I said stay woke, real mode. Stay woke, real mode. I said stay woke. Hey, y'all some jokers, y'all a bunch of clowns. You will not get a laugh out of me. You can talk, but you can't denounce. I live a different theology. Why I transferred to a new account? You just fucked over a prodigy. Posted up with a rented crown. You are the king in the apology. You about to see a new side of me. I hope you know.